So just a short journey about you. Where did you start? And we saw all those photographs of, black and white photographs also with Sandeep managed to troll, and so how much of stuff is there in the public domain over there. So all that comes out there. So tell us something about how did you start your education, and then how did you get into films and your journey a bit.
It's not a short journey, but I'll try and make it as short as possible.
Absolutely.
Because I'm pretty old now. But well, I started working, I grew up in small town India because my father was working for the Life Insurance Corporation of India. And we used to get posted every 2 or 3 years to different places. So I was born in Jammu, I grew up in Amritsar, I grew up in Jalandhar, I grew up in Chandigarh, I grew up in Ajmer, I grew up in Indore as well as Kota in Rajasthan. So these were the cities where I schooled. And because my dad was in the Life Insurance Corporation, he was always in those areas where there were villages. I don't think cinema and theatre was such a huge I think business at that time. Theatres, most of those places where I grew up in, theatres came in at a time when I was like probably in my high school and college.
Okay.
So, but LIC used to have this very interesting mobile video vans. No, there were no videos also. Mobile film vans.
Okay.
And they used to go to these villages and show feature films.
Okay.
Things like Anand and all my Hindi cinema I have consumed along with my father and my siblings, sitting with villagers and watching those films in which they used to intercut LIC ads. Okay. That was their promotional sort of thing.
Okay.
So that was very exciting to me and very interesting, and I grew up doing that. And some of the best Indian cinemas, that's how I consumed, and I was always very clear that I wanted to be in drama, theatre, cinema, sort of stuff. So it was obvious once I graduated, the next destination was Bombay.
Okay.
And Bombay was where...
Mumbai.
We'll sorry, yeah. You'll have to bleep it out. It's live, it's gone.
Oh God.
Total defiance.
We're in problems. Okay.
Okay, so at that time that I'm talking about, it was called Bombay.
Okay.
And if I come to the present, I'll say Mumbai, I'll remember. Okay. So, yeah. So I came to Bombay because it was the destination for anything that you wanted to do with arts. Also, the other big help was that my mother belonged to Bombay, so I had a substantial family here. And I started working in theatre with Nadira Babbar.
Okay.
And worked with her for quite a few years in her group, Ek Jooth. So I acted, I did backstage, I did costumes, I did sets, I did, the usual thing at Prithvi Theatre.
Which year was this?
This was in 84, 85 and 86.
Okay.
Okay. So this was soon after I graduated and I came here. And that's what gave me really the move into meeting with people who belong to the entertainment industry. It was a small world, unlike what it is today. It's like huge, our industry. Absolutely. But it was just a small community family which like congregated every day at Prithvi Theatre. And Prithvi Theatre was where there was that local phone, and everybody had given all their families all over India that phone number. So we used to come and collect our messages there because there were no mobile phones, there's nothing like that. And I met Mr. Shekhar Kapoor through that group.
Okay, okay.
I worked with him, assisted him for a couple of, almost around 6 or 7 ad films that he made. And then got an assistant's job in the serial Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, which was at its tail end.
Okay.
And from there moved on to assisting in many other serials. And subsequently started also producing short documentaries. That was for UNICEF, because I happened to meet somebody in UNICEF on one of my trips to Delhi.
Okay.
And because they knew I was working in Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, and I had contact with actors like Rakesh Bedi and Shafi Namdar and various other people. And many of my theatre group people were suddenly stars, because there was Alok Nath in Bunyad, and there was Girja Shankar, and all the theatre people had found work, and all of them were mega stars. TV was like, you know, the stepping stone. I mean, that's how people became stars in that time. So they said, would you do these 1-minute spots on immunization and family planning and birth spacing? So I said, yeah, and I got all these guys to give these 1-minute messages. And they used to come, I don't know how many of you were born at that time, but on Doordarshan at 9 p.m, just before the news started, for that 1 minute, there used to be that one spot, and which used to immediately gather millions and millions of viewers. And the government's Ministry of Health and UNICEF's program at that point got so much traction, because these guys were stars and they were giving messages, and the immunization program picked up. And that really got me into the thick of always, you know, doing whatever I was doing commercially to kind of also have a social output of it.
Correct, correct.
And by then I think it was 88, 89, 90, and CTV was coming in. And I was very charged about women's empowerment issues. And while I was making documentaries for various, I had made films on sanitation and films on various other issues, you know, urban development and stuff like that. So at the same time, ZTV came up, and I happened to walk in to the channel, which was actually an empty hall. At the end of that hall, there was one table and chair.
Okay.
At Worli in the ZTV office, where Karuna Samtani, who was later the programming head, she was sitting, and I went and gave her a story in 2 pages, which was actually my own story, because I was living in Bombay with 3 other girlfriends of mine, and we were sharing an apartment. And I just kind of put together incidents of the kind of things we were going through on a daily basis, and I wrote that down in 2 pages into a sort of a storyline, and went and gave it to her, and she loved it. And the next thing was that she said, can you produce a program for me? And that's really how I became a producer, and I made Tara.
That's one
Tara
of the
became
only Hindi serial which I used to see.
Thank you.
But now I become a serial killer. I've got to confess, I become a serial killer.
That's awesome.
Every time I see my wife watching a serial, I feel like killing it over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tara was really like, yeah, it took over my life. It went on for 5 years. It was very, very popular. Something which I found out after it was over. Because while it was going on, I was just so overwhelmed with, you know, the making and the producing, and it was new to me. I was young. I was in my early 20s, and I was like mid-20s, and I was like all, you know, charged with everything. Tara was the beginning of a very long story, because that led to another show called Shatranj and Ummeed, V3 Plus, which was a comedy. Then I made I think satellite television's first daily soap opera called Rahat. Then Rahe, Agni Chakra. So before I knew it, it was 2006, and I had made 16 serials, long-running shows. And it was like where I came to like a screeching halt, and I said, hello, I need to do something more than this, and other than this, not more than this. So that's really the story of my television career.
Okay.
And but never did at any of those, along that period of time from 91, I think, where Tara started, in 2006, where the last show that I made, Millie, 2007 ended. I was never out of touch with ground reality. I was always making documentary films, and I used to actually go with my own camera and, you know, to these small towns, cities, villages, and actually talk to my audiences.
Okay.
And I used to bring that video material back and show it to my teams. And I used to say, like, you know, we may say Tara is the biggest show on earth or whatever in India, but don't go by the ratings, go by what people feel. And that was really the driving factor of the storytelling of Tara.
Okay.
So,
and then after that, you did a lot of documentaries and.
Along the way, I did a lot of documentaries.
So
yeah.
this was till which year?
Documentaries goes on even now.
Okay.
I mean, it's something I just have a...
But you got totally out of the serial business.
It's hard to get out of a serial business unless you become a serial killer like you. But yeah, I think at that point in time after I had completed Millie, there was a huge disconnect I felt as a television professional with the audience. I felt it as a writer, I felt it as a producer, as a director. And I was very disturbed with it because I knew with my documentary filmmaking that something was not right. And there was one particular incident that happened when I was making a documentary film and I was talking to some frontline workers who work on the villages front lines with women, and they're providing health services and they're providing empowerment, cultures to them. They're trying to give them that kind of information. That one of the frontline workers told me, she said, आप लोग तो इधर आते हो और बोलते हो कि women should be empowered, they should not be abused and they should get health care. And then रात मैं इन लोगों को ये सब बोलती हूँ, लेकिन रात को ये लोग जब टीवी देखते हैं अगले दिन मुझे बोलते हैं आप बकवास कर रहे हैं. So that was like really the turning point in my life, because I said no, there's something that one needs to do here. And as a script writer, and after having done like more than 2,000 to 3,000 hours of storytelling on television, I think I need to be the bridge between the audience and my community. So I started with talking to the Producers Guild, the Film Directors Association. I got involved with our associations here. I was on the governing council of the Film Producers Guild for a while. I was on the Film Directors Association governing council for a while. I wanted to understand like what are those landscapes really like, and why is it that we have such a, when actually our real consumer is our audience, and the consumer is the largest stakeholder of every business. If he stops buying into you, there's nothing left.
Absolutely.
So the real investor of your business is your audience, who's buying a ticket, who's buying a television set, who's, buying against his time to invest in our work. So once I understood that whole thing, and plus because I was associated with, a lot of NGOs, I was now networked with over 3,000 NGOs all over India, and I was constantly in dialogue with them and traveling and seeing people. I thought it's really the inaccuracy of information that makes people disconnect from TV, because we are myth making, which we should not be. We should be telling stories, not making myths.
Absolutely.
We have ample mythology in our business, in our country, and that should be treated as mythology and not our history. And that's where all these thoughts were coming to me, and I was still wondering what is it that we can do as an enterprise that will start driving what I'm thinking into a sort of a structured way towards, realization. And like they say, the universe kind of conspires with you when you are thinking of something. I happened to come across, through the Producers Guild of India, there were some people from Los Angeles who wanted to come and hold a panel discussion in India, in Bombay. And the invite came through the Producers Guild. They invited me to speak on their panel. And when I met them, they happened to be Hollywood Health and Society.
Wow.
And Hollywood Health and Society is a program at the University of Southern California. And that has operated for the last 15 years in the business of entertainment in Hollywood.
Okay.
And consulted on shows like Homeland, Private Practice, House, Grey's Anatomy, 90210, Desperate Housewives. And the script writers just call into them, Skype into them, talk to them, and they make sure that they bring experts on the table to discuss with script writers. That which ensures that the writers, what they're writing, especially to do with anything that's medical, legal, social, sustainable development, climate change, is accurate. And they had affected over 500 storylines by the time I met them. And I said, oh my God, this is a model, and this is what we need to do in India. And So they said, yeah, I mean, that's a great idea and we'd love to help you do that, but we need to shop for funds. And I think a good idea moved on. They helped and we got funded from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So 2 years ago, after like good 4-5 year struggle, I managed to get the funds. I set up the Asian Center for Entertainment Education. We have worked with over 125 storylines already. We are consulting on a couple of television dramas. One is a medical drama which is soon to come on air on Life OK. Another one which was running on this channel called Sonipal. And along with that, when we consult on these shows, like all I do is like, you know, talk to guys, like someone's writing something on digital stuff. I'll come to you and say, Sampath, please meet my script writers and brief them. If they're writing on something on medical stuff, I'll say, go to doctors and request them. And it's not funny because the amount of people have volunteered help. There are doctors who now call us and say that if you need anything, we'll do it. Call us. Because we love to see ourselves accurately portrayed on screen. So that's the kind of stuff. So it's very, very exciting right now. We also carry out longitudinal studies. So when we do consult on a story and there is specifically something that information on, like the other day somebody needed information on birth spacing and we told them about it. And we realized that, okay, this could impact viewers. So we do have a baseline survey in place in 5 cities in UP of viewers of television. So we do kind of dipstick there and check out how this information impacted them to gain knowledge, awareness, or to take action in their lives. And we've had some absolutely phenomenal results on that.
Fantastic. It's really awesome. The kind of work which she's been doing, especially for the NGO and all, is I never knew about that.
Okay.
Of course, I read the biodata over there today.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of sea of change. Like I said, when I'd seen Tara and all, maybe those were my formative years. And I saw all this stuff. And I see the kind of, I would say, crap going on right now in the serials. Where, you know, it's like total rubbish. And my wife has gone outside, good. Okay. So, you know, it's like, you know, the kind of affairs and this going on. And the people who see are the seniors. You know, senior people who are there, and you know, households are affected in that. I think with the coming of Ekta Kapoor, she's made it like a commodity over there. I think if I'm right over there, and there's been a total change of, you know, I don't know what you call it over there. The cleanliness has gone out of it. You know, the good, clean fun, or maybe the audience likes that kind of stuff, masala and all that stuff. So maybe that's
in the sense, see, I wouldn't really critique my business because at the end of the day, it's a business. And the last, I think I understand it more than critique it, because I know for the last 10 to 12 years, it has grown, 10 to 12 or like 15 years, it's grown from 1 channel to 800 channels. So I think the focus was more in distribution and, you know, reaching out to the masses, and the kind of penetration it has today is like because people really focused on that. So there was a lot of struggle, creative struggle that went on to kind of, you know, harness the monster. Invariably, it was like, you know, the minute you got a finger on the pulse, it changed. And this kept happening every 6 months. And for that, unlike others, I must praise Ekta Kapoor, because she really had her, you know, finger on the pulse, and she has reigned those years where otherwise I think the industry of creativity would have collapsed. So, good, bad or ugly, yes, there was a lot of bad, there was a lot of ugly. But it made the business grow to the levels that it has. Today, the number of theatres, today we are releasing 6,000. PK released 6,000 prints all over India. I mean, I'm talking about a time when I was traveling with my father and to villages with his life insurance corporation bus, where we were watching films because there were no theatres. And that is the reach of the media. And I think now is where consolidation really is an important factor. And to say another good word for Ekta Kapoor, I would say that she's reinvented herself at every step. From Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi to whatever she's doing today, there's a huge difference. And she's obviously, you know, kind of traversed it brilliantly. And her Balaji Telefilms is one of the biggest companies, and it kind of is doing very well.
So the third eye, which is your current company, so that's doing all this work of this production and all that particular thing over there. Okay, that helps answer my other question. So how many of you have seen White Noise? Has anybody seen White? Okay, one. Yeah, my wife saw it with me. So tell us something. I haven't seen PK. Neither I've seen Three Idiots. Okay, so that's. I like to see this offbeat movies, like a movie like Haider or something like that. So I saw White Noise and I found it to be a very good movie. I never knew it was made by you over there. So that's fine. So tell us something about White Noise.
Yeah.
Was it based on a true story? Because I have a feeling it's thoda true story उसके अंदर.
नहीं उसमें मैंने अभी तक जितना भी काम किया, I've always kind of I think drawn from the well of my own life. There has to be a connect, otherwise you can't really creatively do things. So yes, there is a little truth to it, but I would leave it at 40% of truth and 60% of really fictionalizing it to dramatize it and make it interesting, which is why you liked it. So much truth you wouldn't have been able to handle. Yeah. So White Noise was, I think, at a juncture as we keep changing, as we grow older. I had, it was a phase in which I was very angry with this business. And I think White Noise was really the result of that. It was the result of that angst and that really, big emotion inside me, that the frustration and helplessness of knowing that something is wrong and not being able to do anything about it. And being a creative producer, and I was not a producer who was in it only for money. Of course I was in it for money, but I was driven creatively. So I could just not sell my soul for business. And therefore it was like, that struggle at that point in time, that everybody, we used to go to channels and talk to people and, used to tell them stories, pitch stories to them. And they would say, no, you're too intelligent for this audience, yeah. It's not going to work, yeah, And I would say, look, I am the audience. And I'm coming from those places. I actually made a whole documentary called Vastav. And I showed it to all these people saying that, look, this is the reality of women in our country. Why are you guys not getting it? So I was going through that whole turmoil within, and White Noise was really the outcome of that.
So today, I think on torrents, a lot of people are going to start downloading White Noise over there. So
I don't think it's available.
Should be available somewhere or other. Somebody will be having it over
Probably,
there.
hopefully.
Okay. So which was your one success story which you had? Which you really, this is something which I really enjoyed doing. Till today, I mean, there are a lot of success stories will come after that.
Yeah.
But till today, what is one thing which you feel proud about? This is something, yes, I did this.
Well, it has to really be the documentary I made called Vastav.
Okay.
It was made in 1999 and 2000. It was a film on the status of women in India, and it was a film that talked about the role that religion played in determining the status of women in India. And very frankly, I just kind of very proudly selected my topic. But once the topic had been selected, I didn't know where to start from.
Okay.
So that led to 2-3 months of research, and we went to the various directory editorials of various media houses. We didn't have the computers and internet at that time. So I went places, went to the libraries looking for material, and it was really not telling enough. So at one point, me and 3 of my girlfriends, I mean, we were all a gang of girlfriends. One of my girlfriends actually, who's no more, she said, listen, you're driving yourself nuts trying to get a handle on your subject. Why don't you just get into your car and let's drive? So I said, where will we go? So let's just go. So we picked up our camera, we picked up our sound. I used to have my own camera and my own sound, and 4 of us got into my Safari. I had a Tata Safari. No, it was a Sumo at that time. And we just drove out of the city. We came back 17 days later after having traversed 7,500 kilometers all over India. So we went from Bombay, we went to Gwalior, we went to Kanpur, we went to Lucknow, we went to... It was just one story leading us to the next, And we were in Varanasi. From Varanasi, that story led us to Agra. From Agra, it led us to Chandigarh. From Chandigarh, we came back to Jaipur. By the end of it, I had about 120 hours of material on tape. And I had spoken to women from all walks of life, all classes, all religious divides, all class divides, all caste divides. economic divides, and the stories I had were so amazing. And I think that is my lifetime box of stories that will keep me going
on.
Yeah, for the rest of my life.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, now to more better stuff.
Okay.
So, what's the favorite food of yours?
Ha.
I don't see too many food photographs now.
You don't?
No.
I think I deliberately don't put them up. My favorite food is cow suey.
Okay.
Salim cooks it very well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love cow suey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whom do you admire?
Whom do I admire? Living or non-living?
Yes, this is first
Living.
time somebody asked me living, non-living over there. So, okay, living and non-living. I'll rephrase that over there.
Okay, I don't have too many like heroes as such, but I do admire my own father, who's not living anymore. He really showed us this country the way we should have seen it, and I'm a result of that. And in the living lot, I think Mahesh Bhatt, who is really like a sort of a mentor to me.
Okay.
And I have worked a lot with him, and he keeps on inspiring not just me, but a lot of us constantly to stay above the curve and stay ahead of the curve, and he's constantly giving us that push.
But
Yeah.
he's a very scary guy because
Why?
Yeah, we used to maintain my boys are there. We used to maintain his computers, so he'll call me. This is Mahesh Bhatt.
Yeah, he barks.
Okay,
He doesn't talk, he barks.
And there'll be there'll be no number coming over there. So we were HP dealers, and there was some problem with his machine. And I told HP, he says, do anything, give a new computer, don't tell him to call us over here.
Yeah.
He's made some printers now, he's made our life hell over here. No? It's okay. And he uses very nice expletives and all in a very nice way over there.
Yes.
And so
Yeah, he's a very fascinating person, but he's very real.
Yeah, he's very real. Yeah.
Very real, and you know what really grabs me about anybody, including Salim, who's my closest friend, and the friends like you, is that we are all real people, and you don't get caught up with the marketing around us and become these fake weirdos. So that's lovely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do you rewind and relax?
How do I rewind and relax? You'll kill me, right? If I was to tell him about
Go ahead.
Farmville and Cityville,
Oh,
you would
God.
never imagine. You know, you won't believe, but Cityville is my ultimate nirvana. It's like when I want to get away from everything, it's like dive into my city and build more airports or do whatever else it is. And collect rent and feel rich. All the
I used to do that for some time, but then I
Yeah.
gave it up.
So that's it.
So do you think social media is useful for your personal brand? And what is your favorite platform, Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah. Social media is like a must. I think I personally must confess that those years post Millie till Asian Center for Entertainment Education and the Third Eye program happened, I stayed alive because of it.
Okay.
And I almost felt like mere liye hi bana ye sab, you know. It was like, because suddenly I was not making television. Being out of the news was a very painful reality that I had to deal with, but it was a choice I had made, so I had to live with it. And suddenly there was Facebook, because my nephew one day comes in 2007 and he says, have you tried Facebook? I said, what is Facebook? And he made this account for me. And that night itself I was hooked. And I said, oh my God, I have my own media. So Twitter came later, everything else came later, and I love all those platforms. But Facebook remains my all favorite because it's like your first baby. My first page where I can say what I want, do what I want, that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. Something about your family.
Where do I start? Okay, I have two elder sisters. I have a younger brother. And I have a mother who's 82.
Wow.
And she still works. She was and I really love talking about her because she's really an inspiration and a powerful woman. She lost her husband when she was 50. She was a housewife who had never worked. She went out and became a life insurance agent for the first time in her life after his death. And at 82, she still refuses to take my car and drive her and go anywhere. She takes an AC bus from Andheri. She goes to Nariman Point. She works. She comes back twice a week.
My God.
She is the highest earning member of our family. And she's really, and the other day she was given the award as a trophy for, right, she got such a huge trophy as being the most, most successful agent of Life Insurance Corporation, Bombay.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's my mother.
That's all.
Yeah, and she's very interesting as well. Then I have a sister who's a teacher. She's she's a head of the primary section at the Singapore International School.
Okay.
She has 2 children and she has a husband, and we all live in the same building but in different apartments. And we are a very close-knit family. Then my sister who lives in New York right now, she's in Bombay. She's doing her PhD in media studies.
Okay.
And then my brother who's younger to us, but he's a professor at the University of Miami. He's the head of the School of Economics in the University of Miami. So that's what, and he's married, he has a American wife, he has an American kid. And then I have Salim, who's my second family, and his entire family, 4 sisters and whoever, and their children and their husbands and everything are all my family.
Fantastic.
So we are like one huge, massive family.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Acting schools. A lot of acting schools have sprung up.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I would trust Anupam Kher's acting school. Other than that, I think my trust is totally in National School of Drama.
Okay.
Any of the others, I think if people have come out of it and made it, it's their own talent and not the acting school.
Okay. Because a lot of them are mushrooming.
They're all over the place. But then that goes to show the, show the fact that how much actors are in demand and how much the industry is growing. So it's become like a huge employment reality.
Fantastic. Okay, now you come to my quick gun Sam witty answers.
Acha.
One word and then you're going to tell me something.
Oh,
money.
God. I don't care about it.
Okay. AIB.
I loved it. Yeah.
Everybody knows what's AIB, no?
All India Bhakchod. Yeah.
They're in the news. Rahul Gandhi.
I think he's misplaced critique on him. I like him.
She lost. Same-sex marriages.
Nothing wrong with that. It's personal choice.
Okay. I told you it's going to be easy questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So finally, what are you looking forward to next?
Next is my event on 5th of March where you're going to help me with social media. And he's going to help me with whatever else. No, more serious note, my next thing is really about making our services grow. It's an ancillary service. And from 125 stories that we have done consulted on in the last one and a half years, I hope that in this year, in 2015, we are able to go up to at least 500 storylines. Wow. And we have enough inquiries happening, so hopefully we'll be able to achieve that.
Advice to the audience out there. So you've been an entrepreneur for how many years?
Life.
All your life. Okay.
Yeah.
So advice, there are a lot of young entrepreneurs over here.
Well, never give up is my first advice. And yeah, don't let anybody dare tell you that you can't do it. If you can dream it, you can do it. Yeah.
Fantastic, Vinita. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
you
me.
here. And it's for you.
Oh, thank you.
So
yeah.
My son spaces out sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nice having you.